Okay, folks, welcome back. So let's eliminate this piece of cardboard here that's kind of warped. This is the one I was using to seal things on top of it. And these are the sealed pieces of this MDF. And I should not judge that by this either, because that might be all. But these should be pretty flat. It is. And so is that one. And so is this one. This one's very flat. And this one's got a little bit of a hump in it. We're going to paint both sides anyways. So it's sealed on both sides, and we're going to paint both sides. Same thing happened with the rows. It looked like they were bent just a tiny little bit, a few of them, just a little nudging, and it's done. Okay. So let's put this back, and we've got 3 buildings. I probably should do one, just to make sure that I'm happy with how it turns out. Now I've got to figure out what freaking one that could possibly be. I have a feeling it's this one. And it is. It is. So what we're going to do is, and I've already looked at some pictures of some of this stuff online, and we got our other boards that came in yesterday, and we're going to do this one first because it's kind of square looking. All right. Let's get myself a little bit of a height advantage here. All right. And what we're planning on doing is we're going to paint. We're going to model this like it's sidewalk or concrete, and we're going to paint the inside as well. So it just needs to be somewhat about where it needs to be in the middle. And I'm just going to draw where this building sits in here. I was going to do the row houses first, but actually makes more sense to do this one. Okay, so then we have this. All right, so this goes to a corner. I'm going to do this with paint anyway, so doing this in pencil isn't that big of a deal. Oh, there's an evil magnet here. All right. This corner. So we're going to put the inside of the wall there. Okay, this is an opening. This one's a little trickier because I can't remove this floor to get in here and mark that out. It's going to look something like this. And then what's this look like? This goes here. This is going to go all the way across. And then we have the wall that is going to follow all the way here to here. Now on here, I'm going to, you need to treat this just like if it was a floor plan of a building. We got an opening here. Okay. There is a, we don't need to use this line. We can use the inside of the building. That's just so when you lift the roof, you're going to be able to see what the footprint of this thing looks like. Okay. The chimney there. And then this is the stairway. It doesn't look like there's an opening for anybody under the stairs. And there's also no way to get from this side to this one directly. Okay? So here is the door opening. Over here, from here to here, we're going to have a window. Okay, we're going to paint that a different color. I'll show you what I'm going to do about that. And there's another window here and here. So let's go across that as well. This is uncharted territory, but I know what I want the finished result to be. Okay, it needs to have a lot of utilitarian stuff to it. Let's make sure we go across. Okay. And we have an opening here, we have an opening there, all right? And then here, I'm going to move this off to the side. We have an opening to a window there and there. We have an opening to a window here and here. And we have an opening to a window here and here. Okay, so this is going to be the base of the building. And, you know, if you have a figure, and I was talking about this yesterday, or the other day, not yesterday, but you got this girl here that's sitting inside the building that is at the window. And so you got somebody that rushes in. These are all French partisans, but let's say they don't get along. One took the other one's lunch money or something. And this guy rushes in. He wants to rush in the building. At that point, we're going to remove the building. And we're going to move where he's going to end up being. And then, you know, this isn't going to be put on the battle, you know, until you do your thing. And then when the turn's over, you come back and you set it back down. Okay? And that's only because these buildings don't have a floor. I didn't design them. That's how they are. Okay? So, we're going to probably not. This is the first one I've done. I'm probably not going to, that one's flush with the wall. Yeah, it is. I'm probably not going to paint the whole thing black. I'm going to take a permanent marker, and this, like I said, this is the first time I'm doing this. So I may decide to do this a different way. But I'm going to end up adding a skim coat of like gray. Most of this is going to be some kind of gray. And I have a feeling this will end up going all the way through if I do that. I'm still going to be able to see it if I go over it. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to, man, I almost wish I had a thicker one. I don't have a thicker Sharpie. We'll go with this one. That's why we're doing one like this. And actually don't need it to be super straight because the building isn't super straight to begin with. We're going to use dashed lines for the window, just like we would if we were drawing up a set of plans for somebody's house. If we can see how this is going to eliminate the pencil marks off of it. I knew that drafting class was going to come in handy. So what I want to do is when I paint this thing, I want to still be able to make out those lines. We'll end up going over them again, but I just want them to still be there. The only reason I'm taking the pencil off is so we don't have like a double line on it, right? Okay. So, I have looked at sidewalks on this destroyed village, right? And the only reason I'm using that destroyed village is because that supposedly hasn't really been touched, by other folks. Actually, I need to do a Google search and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Oradour sur Glane. one of these had black and white period pictures. Well, regardless, we're going to put some notches in here so this looks like pavement. Okay, now that we have this, remember this is the very first one that I'm doing, so. And it doesn't need to be probably paint them in. I should do a tester on this. Okay, this is unlikely to be a piece that I'm going to use. So if I have these notches, take let's get this pewter gray. What happens when I put a wash on this is what I'm getting at. Now, obviously the base color we're going to have a little bit more stuff to it. Let's just do the full Monty. Let's just see what we can come up with here. Remember, we don't need to make a method that's going to take forever and not going to turn out well. A little bit black. And so you've got this sidewalk area like that. And then we're going to come in and they're not going to be that close together, but that's the look we're going to want. Or would we rather have hand painting them? Well, it's going to take longer to hand paint them. That, unfortunately, when you cut it, it almost raises what you're doing. There's got to be a little water. My little water cup that's up here. Maybe I got rid of it so it wouldn't spill. Did I move it over here? I did, but there's no water in it. Okay. All right. This will do for now. Let's get a brush that actually behaves well. Like this one. Now this isn't sealed. I actually don't want it to look perfect, but I don't want it to look super rustic either. I think painting it is the way to go. I think we're going to paint it. Oh. Got these 2 notches in there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take a light gray and paint the whole thing over. Okay, I'm actually going to start on. I'm going to start on the back and then flip it over. We've got to paint both sides so we don't have that issue. Okay, so let's just go ahead and grab this pewter gray. And why am I using a color that's this light? Well, we don't want to paint over that. We want to go over light over that and then it not be an issue. This is just so we're painting both sides. There we go. We could be done in a day. There we go. We're figuring this stuff out as we go. Okay. Now, let's see if we can paint this over this and you can still see the color underneath it. And we can. That's good. I'm going to put a little bit here and a little bit there. I'm going to go over it. I just need to be able to see it. I can see all the way through it, so we're good. Just got to remember, this is like the first time I've done this. What I'm attempting to do. So am prepared to not be on the correct track. I think it was a good idea that I used permanent marker on it. Otherwise, there's no way you'd be able to see through this. All right, let's make sure we got all the edges. What's up, Darren? And between painting both sides, sealing both sides, and then painting both sides, we should not have much warpage at all. This thing is pretty straight. You want to be able to see those lines underneath there. And what the plan is, this will end up sitting like this. Okay, and no, the floor of it's not going to be necessarily that color. This is going to be close to Packing for Ohio. Ohio. Have fun at the... You should put something in your luggage interesting. Make the TSA's life interesting. So this isn't going to be the final color of the concrete, but it's going to be kind of there. And I can't imagine doing this without putting this sealant on it, because this is just continually soaking more and more of this stuff up. Okay, we've got the lines there. We're going to wait for that to dry. Then we're going to come in and draw the lines on it again, but I can see through it. Okay. So this is going to sit like this. So when something's happening inside, like I mentioned earlier, you can remove this, and then the figures will be inside there. If it's on the second floor, well, there's a removable top for the second floor, and there you have it. And then there's actually a third floor here. You can have a sniper or something up there. Okay? So this is going to be like sidewalk, and it's going to be dirty and shit and stuff like that. And this will be, probably a different color for the inside. Same thing for the different color there. I don't know if these buildings had wooden floors or whatever, but mine are going to all have, they're all going to be cement floors. It may just not be this exact same cement color on the inside. And then this, every one of these buildings is going to have this little sidewalk around them. And then when you go and you put the main street in, again, same material, 2 millimeter MDF. It's going to sit, well, let's not use one that has live paint on it. How about that? But it's going to sit underneath it, kind of like this is. So that's where it's going to be your pavement, and then the sidewalk on the other side. And the difference is there's your street, and we're going to put treatment on it so it looks like asphalt and paint it. Because these are kind of built up area towns stuff. And that should work. It sounds good on paper. Okay? Now, this is not going to take very long to dry if it's not already dried already. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse this. And let's see if we've got something handy. We'll use this one right here. However, I'm almost out of Hand sanitizer, the magic ingredient. Because with hand sanitizer, you can take old paint and it comes right off. There we go, that's enough. You've got this paint won't come off there. You can put it in water, it won't come off. This reactivates it. Great. No. Hand sanitizer will take that off too. That's why you don't wear any new shirts here. Yeah, we'll deal with that later. Anyways, this paint's several weeks old, so hand sanitizer will take acrylic paint off. That's years old, actually. So let's close this back up. I need to buy another one of these. That's what I forgot to buy at Sam's. I don't know how the other brands work, but that's Purell. We're going to dip it in water so we neutralize the cleaning agents. And somebody said, oh, I just use rubbing alcohol for that. Yeah, I did a test. And did an experiment, and it didn't work. So, all right. Now, I'm going to use white. I like to mix my own colors. I like to make my own shades instead of using colors that are already pre-made. The pre-made color is nice to get you to a certain spot, and then I like to go from there. So let's get some trusty white there. And more of this shit right here. And all this is cheap-ass pewter paint. Cheap-ass craft paint. You don't have to use expensive stuff for this. So, I'm going to go in and we're going to paint just around the outside of this building. Another coat. Sticking about as close to that line as I can get. Yeah, it just keeps soaking it up. And that's with the sealer already on it. Okay? Now, this is my first time doing this, so be warned. Ye have been warned. And I don't want to have a method that's going to take 27 hours to do this, because honestly, I wouldn't get anything done if that was the case. As much as I would love to spend 27 hours doing this, we do need to get something accomplished eventually. You start over here where... Let's see what happens if we add a little bit of color differentiation differentiation here over here. Good Lord. And we're still going to outline the gaps in the concrete, the sidewalk. And probably tinker with it as well, but I want kind of a base color where it doesn't look exactly the same. There we go. I'm totally winging this. I've never done this before. I'm just going with my gut instinct of what I think is going to work, and I tell you what, I think I'm going to get close. I think I'll be happy with the results, but sometimes you can't do things, they don't turn out right the first time you try them. So, right now we're not wasting anything other than my time. So, remember, this is the curb. And no, I'm not going to round the top of the curb. That's too far. That's taking things too far. Well, I may try it one time, but we're not going to do it on this one. Right. Now, we still haven't painted the cracks on there, but let's see what this thing looks like. Okay. Footprint is here. Here's the staircase. So now what we're going to do is, I think what the best way of doing this is. Let's see if we can get anywhere with this, because this is a consistent thinness. It's just basically watered down black paint, but it's watered down to a consistency. Oh, you're going to be difficult? Well, we're going to take your ass out. We got time for that kind of nonsense. Now, I'm going to go ahead and remove this, and I'm going to drop. You always want to pull towards you. You have the most control with that. Well, let's see how this behaves, first of all. Okay, it doesn't soak too much. And it's kind of thin. That's good. So we're going to run a line across from here to there. All right, and then we're going to go, well, that's unintentional. Let's just do a little section of it, see if we're happy with how it turns out. Okay? We're going to have this going to go to the corner, and this corner is going to go over here. I actually like the fact that it's not really dark. And there's nothing on this side until you get to the corner. Do the same thing here. Let's do enough of an area that we can see if we are on the right track or not. So let's say we had that painted like that. What's this look like? And do I like it? Because it's got to look like everything else. Got to go with everything else. Well, we're going to close that. And let's put some readers that aren't so powerful so I can see it at a distance. Well, I think it looks pretty good. It looks good enough that I think I should continue down this road, at least for the time being. I know these are put in by hand, so they don't have to be exactly, but I think that the ones that are square look better than these. Again, I can repaint that and straighten that out if I needed to. Let's just continue making square stuff right there from that point on. It's certainly easy enough to do what I'm doing. It's not like I'm using a method that's going to take like 10 hours to do this. I'd really rather it not be that way. Because we have several of these buildings to do. So at this point, I'm going to go back to doing things that are more or less square and just write that off. I knew that I wanted this to go straight across from it there. So we're going to put one here. And we're going to do another one there. You can come back and thicken that line. I gotta be careful because I want this corner to be where it is. Same thing with this one. I don't want to splice up the corner. And let's just keep going the same way. Let's just keep doing squares. Okay, that's pretty reasonable. And let's continue on this way too, and then we'll put the building on it and see if I'm actually okay with that being that way. When they make things out of concrete, it can turn it doesn't turn out perfect. Don't ask me how I know that, but that's an understatement of the century. As a matter of fact, if this was even, it'd probably look weird. Because the rest of the building is all ramshackle looking anyways. All right, now we flip this thing. Let's move this out of the way. Okay. Well, it definitely looks good from 3 feet away. And I don't know if I want to make it any thicker than that. It seems to be... I guess I could tinker with it with a building on it. Okay, that's looking even better. All right, we're on the right track. At least it's worth finishing one of these. So we're going to finish this building, and then when we're done with it, well, we're not going to finish tonight, but, and we'll see how it turns out. Like I've said before, I may not have done, okay, English. I may not have done this before, but I have a clue, and I certainly have a vision of what I want it to look like. I don't want the sidewalk to be that dissimilar from the rest of the building. And there's going to be little rubble and stuff in different places here. Expansion joints. Actually, I can lose this for the time being. It's just another layer of zaniness at this point. But if I can use this Nuln Oil, this is a consistent thinness. If I mix it up and I make one batch, it's too dark, and if you make it too light, you just go over it again to get it where you want it to be. If you make it too dark, well then you just created a lot more work for yourself. Let's just go work our way all the way around the building. And yes, we're going to make some of these that are cracked. Come on, folks. Hold on one second. Okay. This material is pretty darn smooth. I'm pretty happy with it. All it is basically a clipboard, but thinner. Yeah, we're definitely going to be doing cracks and stuff on this. All right, now let's try something so we don't have to do this by paintbrush. Now these are the super readers. Okay, yeah, that's going to be just fine. We're going to end up sealing it anyways, so there's a little bit of a shine with this. We should be fine. We're going to seal it with acrylic, so it's not going to reactivate this stuff. I believe that if you use enamel, it will wipe this stuff off. It will just like thin it out and you got a problem. All right. We've got kind of the color that we want on the outside. Let's, I like operating actually with this building on it. Now, this has suffered a lot of damage on this side, so it stands to reason, using logic, that if one side's going to have some cracked pieces, it would be more on this side than the other. Now, let's... And we're probably going to dry brush over this to smooth it out, to smooth it out even more. Okay, don't want to go crazy with it. That turned out really well. That turned out really well. Let's thicken up these expansion joints some. It'll stand out from the cracks that much more. And this may seem tedious, it's actually fun to do. Anything I can put my own like spin on it, I'm a fan of. These long liner brushes. Get a lot of control with it. Okay, now we're going to come in here. I think I'd rather use this than the marker. Although the marker was useful to get it in the right place. Let's see what this looks like. That's the side. Yeah. Yep. I'm going to take this. I'm going to split this in two. a little concrete entrance there. We're going to split that in two. We're going to do the same thing on this one. This entranceway. This is another door here. So we got all the little entranceways there. And then you can come in here and go, okay, well, I don't want this gray part to show underneath there. So you can come in here and paint that as a shadow so that doesn't stand out. Because this building is kind of imperfect. It's an old resin casting. And you can just look at this and go, man, I wish that there was a little crack or something like that. Now, I'm going to take the inside of this building and we're going to paint it a slightly different color. And then we'll outline all that. So let's put this away so we don't have a spill situation. Actually, I'm going to use the restroom. I'll be right back. All right. So we're going to use a color that has a little bit of brown in it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use this as the mixer. And we're just painting this area here in the inside. Okay? So, we already have white over there. We're going to try to use that as that black. I'm going to use this same gray color, but we're going to mix some dark brown in it with it. Okay? And this right here. Really? I closed it, and that's the problem with these, is these things just close and you get shit, freaking paint and stuff on it. Let's wipe this off. It's just unusual. I'm used to not making any freaking messes, but these tops sometimes have a life of their own. So we're going to use this raw umber. Let's see if we can open it without making a mess. Yep. All right, and so we don't create a whole lot of work for ourselves. Let's see if we've got one of these brushes that are square, that are damn near useless for anything else that I do, but they probably come in handy for this because we've got edges that would probably benefit from that. Here's one, but it's been violated, so it doesn't work really well. I tend to use these for dry brushing. That should be fine. That should be okay. That should be okay. Well, let's see what color we get with some brown and some... No, that's not going to work. We're going to need to, and I hope I don't have to go to the garage to get the other hand sanitizer. I've got two of them. The one that's newer is out in the garage. Let's get some of this stuff right here. No, not enough. Paint stuck in between the bristles. Okay. Cheap ass brushes. Neutralize that. Now we can go back to our regularly scheduled color. Let's see how different this is. Not that different. Boy, this doesn't cover worth a shit. Well, I'm not happy with that at all. Let's take a little bit of this. This water is not necessarily... we can get some fresh water. Filtered from the fridge. That's wasteful. Do I have a little... Yeah, I should be able to work fine on this. I don't mind taking some of the moisture off of. By putting on the cardboard, you take some of this moisture off. All right, now we're getting somewhere. And yes, we're going to end up going over it anyways. We're just laying the groundwork here. If you want something to look good, the first thing you got to get out of your mind is you're going to be able to do it on the first try. You're going to have to adjust a little this way and scooch a little that way and go over it. And there's very few things you can do and they'll come out right the very first time without any correction. We're just going to kind of lay out some even paint. We're going to end up going over this anyways. Yeah, there we go. And the next color we put on it, it's going to cover even better. And that's with this having the sealer in it. If I had not sealed this, who knows what we'd be getting, right? All right, so let's see what this looks like. What that room looks like. We don't want it to be uniform color anyways, but we don't want to look like it's got brush strokes. So now you got the inside of the building that's a different color than the sidewalk. And because we sealed this, it's not drying immediately. Otherwise it'd be like gone. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to go ahead and color and do the bottom of this one in the same color. All right, because it really doesn't matter. let's not pick that up and transfer it somewhere else. Come on, man. Most of the buildings I'm going to build will have floors in them already. So I will not have to do, still have to do the sidewalk if it deserves something, but won't have to do this floor part, which will basically be invisible. The sidewalk's visible all the time. So if you're painting something and people are going to see it, it doesn't bother me so much, you know, because it's like it's got to be done, or you know, there's something to see. But if you're painting something that no one's really going to pay attention to, if it's not really that important, there's no reason to really do all that. That's why I don't like priming so much. And priming is important, but you're basically going to cover over it. And yeah, we're going to end up getting with a wall color and painting it the other way and cleaning it up. But like I said, this is actually, in a strange, sick way, enjoyable. Now, we have some areas here that when we put this down, they're going to be visible. So I'm actually going to go inside and paint that a little bit so it's not noticeable on the inside of the building. Okay. So we're going to have to wait for that to dry, and then we're going to probably in some kind of like a wet dry brush end up making the floor kind of uneven. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this thing all the way to its fruition completely, because you know there's bricks and stuff that need to go, you know, that'll be on there. It's not gonna, they're not going to be permanently glued on there. But where did I put my bricks? Yeah, and that's the part where I may actually change up the color the bricks are a little bit to go more in line with this. But we're just going to sprinkle, we'll sprinkle a few in a couple different places. And then when it's time to clean up, you repurpose these and you know, use a soft bristled brush. And you're going to lose some over time, but that's where we're going to stop for this because we're stuck in a, it's got to be dry to be able to do that. But anyhow, not bad so far. Not bad for cardboard. So anyways, thanks for stopping by, folks. And this is the this is the vehicle. This is the building that we're going to complete all the way through with the sidewalk and everything. And you know, we'll probably still do some more tinkering on the paint and everything, but so far looks pretty good. Certainly looks pretty good from 3 feet away. And it takes a lot more time to do it than the cost of the material. The cost of the material is pretty cheap. But like I said, we're going to have the roadway will be underneath this. So you're going to have a road that's going to look like it's blacktop. It'll have a little bit of a texture and it'll sit like this underneath it. So, all right, folks.